My name is Gabriel. So today I'm going to be showing to you during this webinar our new improved task models and all of the different things that we can now do with the task model. So I'll go generally into what the task model is for those of you that have never heard of it before. So first of all, in your Evolio account, you can always go under settings and then under modules and integrations. And then under there, you can activate the task management model, and it is there is no additional fees added to your account for activating this model. So it's free to use. Once it is activated, it'll open this window here, the task model, which is the little checkmark logo. And in here, you'll have what we call a task library. So in the task library, this is where you'll be able to create your tasks. So to create a task, you just need to click on new task, and then you can give it a name. So let's say we have a task to broom the floor. I need to give it a French name as well. I'm just going to put an English name since the account is bilingual. And then we can enter a description as well. After that, if you want to upload a file that is going to be available for the employee when they look at the task, you'll be able to do so. And you can also enter an estimated time for the task. So let's say I think the task is going to take about 30 minutes. I can enter 30 minutes here. And I can also check if I want the employees to enter the time that they worked on this task whenever they check that they've completed the task. So for this example, we'll do it. Once we're done entering all this information, the new stuff that we've added is right here, the option to add task codes, project codes, and a project name. So here in the task code, I'll be able to add in a code. So we'll just enter anything. Let's say 9783 or 9683, and then we'll be able to enter a project code. So it could be, let's say, GR, it could be alpha as well. So you can enter letters here. There's no issues with that. And let's say GR304, and we can enter the project name. So let's call this project test 1, because I've created a test earlier this morning as well. And then we confirm, and this task is now added into our task library. So by adding the task in the task library, it is now possible to add this task on certain shifts or to add it in task assignment rules as well. So in the task assignment rules, what it does is that you can, for certain shift, apply tasks automatically. So let's delete some of those here. We'll create a new task assignment rule. So by creating a task assignment rule, I can give it this a name, this rule a name, and then after that, I can go all the way here in the application context, in the parameters, and I can decide what team, what position, what location I want this task to apply for. So let's say I want these tasks or this task to be applied to all of the cardiology team. I can select the cardiology team. And then after that, I click on next, and it lets me enter the tasks that I want to have in this new task assignment rule. So let's say I want to have broom the floor, which is what I think I just created, and then wash the floor. Let's say those two tasks. I want to have those two tasks in my assignment rule. I will click on save, and now I've created my assignment rule. What I can do then is, if I go back in the schedule, is that when I create a shift, so I'm using a test employee for those. Let's say I delete this shift right here. Let's say I create a shift for tomorrow. So let's say on Friday the 14th, I'll be able to enter a team. So we'll select cardiology, a position, and then a location as well. And then once I'm done selecting my information, since it is a cardiology team shift, it will automatically apply the two tasks that I've applied in my task assignment rule. However, this does not mean that you cannot manually add additional tasks into a shift manually. So therefore, if I click on the plus button here, I'll be able to select a task from the library. And this way, I'll be able to add any tasks that I want to. So let's say I want to add clean tables for that shift, I'll be able to add it. So once I'm done creating my shift, I can click on create and publish. And then from their punch, the employee will be able to enter the tasks that they've done and the amount of time they've done in each task. So let's say we go ahead and create a shift for today. And we create a shift, let's say it's 1 and 6 p.m. Let's go 1 p.m. to 17 or to 5 p.m. And then I'll select the cardiology team, position, same thing. I have my 2 tasks here. I'll create and publish. And then it says I'm absent, so I'm going to go as an employee and clock in. So I just need to have my clocking pin, which is 67615. Oops. All right, let's click on the check mark, and then I'm going to change it in English here. So you see here it says clock in. It tells me what shift that I have. I'm able to clock in. It asks me to take a picture. So hi everyone, this is me. And then I can click on submit. And once I'm done submitting my clock in, I can then clock back in and select the tasks that I've done during my shift. So let's say, for example, here I go back in 67615 and clock in again. Oops. 15. If I clock in again, it says here that I'm currently working. So I put it back in French. It says that I'm currently working, or I've been working for 3 minutes. And it asks me the tasks that I've done during the shift. So I can go ahead and check a task here. Let's say broom the floor. It forces me, as I did earlier, to enter a duration. So let's say it took me 45 minutes here. I can also add in a note for the manager. So then I click on OK, and now this task has been done, and I'm not forced to clock out. I can just go back to the pin afterwards. So I've not clocked out, I've just entered during my shift that I've completed a certain task. This can be done in the middle of the shift, it can be done at the end of the shift by the employee. It does not really matter, as long as the tasks have been checked. So let's say I clock in, let's say I clock out without having done my my other tasks that I have on my shift. Let's say I clock out here and click on next. It says that I have an uncompleted task, which is correct because let's say I haven't completed this tasks. I click on next and then no, ask me once again to take a picture. So I'll take the picture and then I click on submit. Once I'm done doing that as the employee, then as the manager, it is possible for me to go on the dashboard and look at all of the shifts with uncompleted tasks. So all of the shifts that have tasks that have not been completed are appearing in here in shifts with uncompleted tasks. So when I look at this task here, I'll be able to see at this shift here, I'm able to see that this shift, like I said, that has a task that has not been completed. So all the shifts with uncompleted tasks will be displayed here on your dashboard. So there's a question from Jonathan. Can we assign a task at a specific time if I want them to pass the broom at 2 p.m., for example? It is not possible to directly schedule a task at a certain time. However, when you add a task into a shift, you can always add in a note in the task. So let's say I edit the shift here, and let's say I go ahead and do this, or I'm sorry, let's say I click on this one. Or let's say I create a new one. Let's say I create a new task completely from a shift. Will this be implemented in further updates? It is not something that is considered as of now. But when I create a new task here in the description, I could enter the time I want the employee to do the task at, or I could also in the shift notes, let's say there's 2 tasks, I could enter please broom the floor broom and wash the floor at 2 p.m. So by adding this information in the notes of the shift, it would be possible after that for the employee to see this note on their, whenever they clock in or whenever they go back and punch their shifts. So I'd say the best way to do it would be to enter it as a note here. But unfortunately, this is not something that is planned in further updates as of now. And then if we go in the report section here, there is now another thing that is new, which is the tasks report. So from there, you'll be able to see the tasks that have been accomplished by employees during a certain period. So I see all of the employees with shifts with tasks in the last month. I could also see my report for the last 7 days, the last 14 days, the last 2 months, or a custom period. So let's say I only want to see for this current week. I'll go ahead and select from November 9th to November 15th, and then I will apply these dates. I can also go and filter my tasks by team, position, locations, or members as well. So let's say I only want to do the tasks that have been accomplished by Gabriel, which is the test employee in that case. I'll be able to see only the tasks that this employee has accomplished, and I'll be able to see the information of the date of the task, the task code, the project code, the task name, the employee's name, the employee ID, the planned duration, the work duration on the task, and the status of the task. Keep in mind that this report is also, you can also export this report. So let's say I click on export here, I could export this report as an Excel format. And then let me just go ahead and open it real quick. In the meantime, I have a question from, another question from Jonathan, which is, I think it would be great to have some kind of live tasks notification just like this in the future. For example, the person's break is scheduled at 5 p.m. and it would send a notification on their screen 15 minutes prior to lunch and say lunch at 5 p.m. Same thing before any other tasks like pass the broom at 2, notify them in advance. Listen, I can definitely pass this feedback up to my team. It could be something interesting to add in. As I said earlier, there is unfortunately not really any plans for future updates regarding that specific setting. But no, honestly, you're not wasting any of my time. The goal of this meeting is to be interactive and answer questions. So if you have any questions or any feedback, like really feel free to ask those questions. It's my pleasure to answer them. But as I was going to say, I can export this report and I want to show you the result it's going to look like in Excel. It's basically going to be these columns, but in an Excel file. So I'll go ahead and open it. Sorry, I'll just take a few seconds. And open it here. So this is another thing that is new in the task model. So basically what we've added is task codes, project codes, and this report right here, which lets you track the amount of time that has been worked on each task each day. So you see here, I have my report, and in this report, I'm able to see all the same information that I'm able to see in this one right here. It's just that I exported it in an Excel file. So you're able to then filter this report the way and manipulate it the way that you want to. So I see all of the tasks here that have been accomplished by certain employees. I see the planned duration, the work duration. So there's a lot of stuff I can play with in this report. So it's really cool because a big weakness of this model in the past was that it wasn't really easy to track the time that was worked on each task. So by adding the project codes, the task codes, it is now way easier to track the time that have been done on each task, which is a big improvement to the model that we made in the last version. So honestly, it was a pretty short webinar today. That is pretty much it for me. I know there's a few of you watching the meeting, so I'll leave you some time to ask your question for me to answer. I do have a question here from Melanie McGregor. Is it possible for us to set up tasks to generate peer review feedback per shift/booking? For example, managers to verify if tasks were actually completed. Peer review feedback per shift booking. Okay, there is not a setting like this. Unfortunately, we're not going that far with the settings, so there's not an extra verification system. But however, by looking at the task report here, the manager can see the tasks that have been completed and then can make the follow-up to make sure that the task has been completed. But there's unfortunately not a system for peer reviewing currently in the task model. So I'll leave you a few more minutes to ask your question, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and then I'll end the webinar. Just in the meantime, this meeting is recorded, so it will be available on our website later on, maybe this week or next week. So it'll be something, the recording you're going to be able to share with your colleagues or any other people if you want to. Great, so it seems like there's no other questions. So I thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it, and I wish you a great end of the week and a great weekend. See you.